Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. So today we're going to work on removing some old layers of wallpaper from the newly acquired property. Now I'm using warm water, dishwashing liquid, and fabric softener to try to get behind some of these old layers of paper. And I'm using just a spackle blade just to scrape and get behind it. It would be a best practice to kind of score the wallpaper a little bit so that the water and soap and fabric softener can get behind it and get saturated really good so it will begin to peel up for you. I have so many wonderful ideas for this house. I'm definitely going to update the windows after I get the wallpaper off. I am going to update a couple of the floors. And I'm really feeling good about the overall look of the house. It's such a nice, solid piece of property. I'm removing these baseboards here because they don't really suit my style. So I'm going to go with something a little bit different. So again, they came up pretty easily because of the saturation of the moisture. I finally realized I needed to give those walls a little time to allow the moisture to soak in, so I went on to work on another room. Now this is another room on the other side of the hallway area, and the wallpaper was coming up a little bit easier on this side, so I continued to work, and it probably worked out because I had sprayed it and left it alone for a while. So definitely be patient when you're doing something like this, because if it's layers of wallpaper, the wallpaper is old, you're not really sure what types of glues or adhesives that were used to put everything on. So be patient and take your time. Now with regards to the hallway, I was considering just patching that and leaving it, but this bedroom cleaned up pretty nice. And as you can see, I've already begun to remove the windows from the house. So I've got my work cut out for me, but I'm excited. Oh my goodness, I think the dolls are in the house. Let me get out of the way and listen and see what's going on among the dolls. Oh, that's Miss Lillian in the doorway. Let me listen. So it seems that Aunt Bess and Aunt Janie want to purchase this property from Big Ma, and they actually want to turn it into a dress shop. Plus, they say it's too noisy in the rooming house, too many young people and children running around. Aunt Bess thinks it's the perfect size for her dress shop, and they can teach sewing lessons there as well. So she has big ideas for the house. Her and Aunt Janie had been talking about purchasing a property, and they think that this one would be perfect. So they're going to have to sit down and hash out the details because this originally was to be additional housing for the people that come to the rooming house. Now there's Aunt Janie, and she's saying that if her and Aunt Bess move out of the rooming house here into this house, there'll be more room for the younger guests, and here they can set things up, get more work done, and have a little bit more peace and quiet. But Aunt Janie and Aunt Bess actually want to be business partners. So there's a lot of negotiation that needs to go on. I can see Aunt Bess is really excited because she's always wanted her own space to make her dress shop and to teach young girls how to sew. So there's Big Ma, and she's trying to explain to Aunt Bess and Aunt Janie that they're going to have a conversation with the men because they already had plans. They had already bought supplies and were working on renovating the house for additional housing for more guests. So to change it to a dress shop, that's going to take a little bit more planning and possibly additional supply. And Janie said that she was willing to give her whole life savings to help make this happen. So Big Ma has agreed to sell it, and they're going to talk to the men this evening. Miss Lillian suggested that the ladies leave now so that they can catch the men at the rooming house before they leave, because when they come in the morning, they will be working on the house under the old plans. Let's leave now. Back at the rooming house, there's Holly and Miss Edna, and they're in the kitchen keeping two of the babies for families in the community that have to work. There's always a lot of children and activity at the rooming house. Meanwhile, my assistant, whose name is Violet, she's in one of the bedrooms that hasn't been completed in the rooming house, and the plans now are to set it up for Marguerite to have during her stay there. And Marguerite is concerned because the room doesn't have a bed, it's not fully furnished or decorated. But in the back of her mind, she keeps thinking about Sadi and what Aunt Bess said. My assistant Violet informed her that while they were getting the room prepared for her, that she would be staying in the room that was designated as the girls' room. Marguerite started to cry. Violet hugged her and asked her why she was crying. She told her that she was excited about being here because she could feel a little grown up, because she felt as though her parents treated her like a child when she was at home. Violet told her she was probably just tired and she just needed some rest and she will feel better in the morning. When Marguerite opened the door to where she was supposed to sleep, all she saw was dolls and toys and things that looked very juvenile, very childlike. The room even had cribs in it. That made her feel really sad because she felt like she was even being put in a room to sleep where the children would sleep. Meanwhile, the men are talking in the hallway, relaxing, talking about the work they're going to do in the morning. They're not aware of the agreement between Big Ma, Aunt Janie, and Aunt Bess. The men confirmed that they would start with the windows and the doors to secure the property before starting on the inside. Meanwhile, Albert and Sadi are not a part of that conversation. Albert is trying to console Sadi because all Sadi can think about or talk about is how beautiful Marguerite is and how concerned he is as to whether her parents will allow him to court her. Albert assured Sadi that Big Daddy would help him contact Marguerite's family to ask Marguerite's father if he could court her, and that he had helped him to meet and marry Violet. As Albert continued to talk, Sadi felt a little bit better, and then Albert told him the best thing he had ever heard, that Violet told him that Marguerite really likes him.